morning, good afternoon, good evening. The text on the screen there has been circulating in some of the social media groups, basically talking about Mnangagwa. Plan A was to bully and bamboozle everybody into believing that he should stay on in power until 2030. And it was all done in the disguise that he will deliver Vision 2030. But I think that Plan A, as much as he was able to force it through his own party, because as we remember, in October last year, the party conference in Bulawayo made a resolution that Mnangagwa must stay until 2030. But unfortunately, before he could force the populace to go through with this, along came Blessed Geza and his fellow war veterans. And they dismissed Vision 2030 as a mirage, bullshit, as Geza rightly called it. And I think that plan is now but dead. Ben, what do you think?
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I agree with you, but I would like to start by saying the current environment in Zimbabwe can be likened to a minefield. When one mine detonates, it will just be a chain reaction. There's so much unease. There are some that are saying, Vision 2030 is well and progressing. I mean, we must not deny the fact that even some opposition, members, including the likes of Coltet, have come out and said the development under Mnangagwa has been tremendous and heaping praise. So, in my view, we could say it's divided into half. Some are against, or most are against the Vision 2030. But there is a significant number, paid and unpaid, that are saying that the vision is truly there. So I think, it's going to be a battle of wits. Who pulls the hardest, the tug of war? Who's going to pull the other? And it's going to get messy. It's really, really going to get messy.
Well, let's hear Geza speak on this Vision 2030.
Are you against the 2030 slogan?
Yeah, I'm very much against. I think from my last interview, now that this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
But you yes.
Fighters. Topera pasakana one way up in the State House. Normal.
But you were two guys. Robert Kapio Mugabe was your guy.
Ah, fuck off, man.
Mnangagwa was your guy.
When we say my war veterans, one way, I do that as I want. Yeah, one way, right? Our man nationalists, don't talk about my war veterans.
What's the difference?
I'm not prepared to expand. Yeah.
Well, the issue of whether there is Vision 2030. And let's remind ourselves that Vision 2030 is the promise that Zimbabwe will become an upper middle income nation by 2030. At the present moment, the evidence on the ground is overwhelming. The economic meltdown has continued. Corruption has become even more rampant since Mnangagwa took over. Roads and other infrastructure have all but collapsed. Education, healthcare have all but collapsed. I think it is one thing to keep talking of an upper middle income and another when the reality on the ground says otherwise. In my view, this is really the classical case of the emperor is no clothes genre. In our case here, Vision 2030 is a mirage, or as blessed Geza put it, Vision 2030 is bullshit. And the truth of the matter is, once it has been now exposed as bullshit, I think as much as Zanu PF Mnangagwa would want to revive that belief that things are getting better, I think that is near impossible. You cannot talk of something that is not there. People have already started laughing that Vision 2030 is but a mirage. And so this brings back to the point that this message on social media has been circulating is now talking about Plan B. And Mnangagwa's Plan B is to use violence. And in this particular case, the individual thinks that he will stage a failed coup and then use that as the excuse to declare a state of emergency and then cancel the 2028 elections. What do you think of that plan?
You know, it's possible. I mean, I cannot underestimate what one will do, especially from Zanu, to stay in power. They will do almost anything. They want that seat. They need to keep Zimbabwe. There are millions of reasons why they have to do it. Some is just, but fear of what will happen after, But that's a discussion for another day. My problem with all this, I don't want to say, the 2030 movement and the signal guys and all that. My question is, what has the people got to gain in this whole fiasco? Because all I see, whether you're waiting for a signal, whether it's going to be a failed coup, this is people's lives that are going to be put in the front, in the front line. This is all that it leads to. And the people that are being put there, which is the ordinary citizens, you and I, what is in it for us? We know if the 2030 movement guys win, ED continues, Mnangagwa continues. And if the signal guys win, and they've made it very clear here, they have stated and said, we want one of ours to rule. We want us to also have a chance. So in all this, whether you're waiting for a signal, whether you're supporting ED20, what is there for you to gain? Right? That is the number one question that we should be asking ourselves.
Well, for the plan itself, basically, we cannot rule out Mnangagwa resorting to all manner of dirty tricks. This is an individual who has been at the heart of the Zanu PF government since 1980. And he has been at the heart of some of the murderous activities carried out by Zanu PF in the name of retaining power at all costs. One can talk about the Kukurawundi in 1983 to 1987. He was at the heart of it. We can also talk about the staged electoral coup of 2008. He was the man who orchestrated it. The coup itself of 2017, he was involved, and the murderous activities that have taken place since he became president, notably the shooting to kill of protesters soon after the 2018 elections, he was at the heart of it. So I would not put this plan B, rule it out. This is a man who is capable and will stop at nothing to retain power at all costs. The tragedy for Zimbabwe is the country has been armed to the teeth. So the emergency of faction or another coup is a reality. It's a possibility that no one can rule out. Can he stage a failed coup? He doesn't have to stage it. Right now, he knows with all this infighting in the party, there will be disgruntled soldiers, police officers, CIO on the Chiwenga side. He can only sit down, list them down, follow them up, and then come up with the accusation that they were plotting to stage a coup. So the possibility of that plan B happening is something that no Zimbabwean who has understood Zimbabwe's politics can rule out. Here is a video reminding us of what he did in the staged electoral coup of 2008.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu administration vamutaza muripi yafona ndiri kwarusape komogwenda kwarusape seka marizauti achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo munangagwa ndezvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vanga vabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara president ofona zvakamira sei kati ndomamira zvakaita takatodini katida sei manje mama ndikati abvudzai baba nditaurira baba gadzirai politburo cabinet musarangarira zvimwe zvinhu gadzirai chi cabinet asi nangoda kuti muzive kuti 2008 maresults abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
As a country we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari kuma below 35, they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusurufaro. We know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We are going to act as we see it fit. We are prepared to go the whole distance.
So, violence cannot be ruled out. Mnangagwa may fail to push through his ED for 2030 under the guise of Vision 2030. We cannot rule out he will push it through using brute force. That's the reality that we've got to keep at the back of our mind, always. Ben, give your closing remarks.
You know, you always use an example of a mouse that is, you know, made to choose between a cobra and a black mamba. And it's a very, very practical, you know, example. The citizens are the mouse. And you are being asked to choose between the ED 2030 and the signal, you know, guys. None of them will end well for the mouse, which is us. None at all. So my question now, I will leave, you know, a question to say, why are we then getting ourselves involved in a battle that will benefit us in no way whatsoever? What is in for us that we would risk our lives? Because this is a battle and it may turn bloody. Then what have you risked for? That is the question that I would leave each and every one of us.
Well, the most important point tonight is this plan A from Mnangagwa was to push through his ED for 2030, using Vision 2030 as the smoke screen. Now that that has failed, we have got to accept the reality that he will now think of using violence. No doubt that the Gaza revolution are well aware of that possibility. Indeed, right now, KSI has been in hiding because the regime is after him. But as much as Zanu PF Mnangagwa is aware and is fearful of a military coup, another military coup, he will even preempt it and use that as the excuse to declare a state of emergency and postpone 2028 elections, and thus get his wish to stay in power beyond 2028. This is something that we must keep at the back of our minds and be painfully aware of. Food for thought. Thank you very much, those of you who were able to join us tonight. Hope you'll be able to do it again tomorrow, 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. Good night.